Omane pe me ho re. 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 Omane Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme
Tashi Delek, how are you? Kuzu Zangpola, everybody. Okay. Thank you for joining Chenrezik Meditation. Okay, so let's start. Sit in a nice relaxed posture. Ni camera tsitsi tsuten. Yagi kutang mat. Tsetse dong. Just a moment. That's it. It's a balogolebe. Don't ngakato. That's it. It's a balogolebe. Yeah, mata bego that's it. Kamata be. Taro. Chita. Thank you. Nice. Thank you. The show. So okay, sit in a nice relaxed posture. Then breathe in light. And breathe out. Okay, breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, breathe in. Fill your body with light. And then in your mind, cultivate faith, devotion, and bodhicitta. And then think of all motherly sentient beings in order to bring them to the state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. I will engage in the meditation and recitation of Chenrezik. Then we begin with refuge and bodhicitta. Sangye chedang tsoke chonam la jangchu barando dane chasun che dagi gomde gibe senam Kidola Pencher Sangye Drumbarasho. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Noble Sangha, I take refuge until Buddhahood. Through the merit of meditation and recitation, may I accomplish Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. Sangye Chödan Tsoke Chonam La Janshu Barhando Dani Chasunche Dagi Gomde Gipe Senam Kidola Pincher Sange Dombarasho Semjen Damjen Dewa Dan Deve Jodan Dembara Juru Che Dunga Dan Dunga Ge Jodan Devara Juru Che Dunga Mebe Dewa Dan Midre Vara Juru Che Nere Cha Dan Dan Dalwe Tanyom Seme Bala Ne Bara Juru Che. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that is devoid of suffering. May they rest in boundless equanimity, free from the partiality of desire and hatred to near and far. Semjen Thamje Dewa Dan Deve Judan Dembara Juruche Dunga Dan Dunga Ge Judan Dravara Juruche Dunga Mebe Dewa Dan Midre Vara Juruche Niri Chandan Dan Dralve Tanyom Tseme Bala Ne Bara Juruche. Then here practice Tonglen, giving and taking, giving all your happiness, joy, all good qualities to sentient beings, and then taking all the suffering and sorrow, the misery of sentient beings onto yourself and dissolving into great bodhicitta, great emptiness. Then finally dissolve all conceptual fixation, we say subject, object and action, into non-duality, and rest in that state for as long as you can. And then when you rise from that state, then immediately you can generate the deity. So page 3. Dan song kan chan sim chengi chi tsuin pen karan da wei ting Shri le pa cho Chenrezik Kar se ze nga den to ze zon to je chingi zi cha shi dang po tal jar ze Uni shir chen ben kar nam dar dan rin chen gengi tre rin dan pai ben te yo se un pai me be u gen chen shab ni doro je kil chung shu Jime da wara jaten ba chamne kundu ngoro juru. Above the crown of all sentient beings is a white lotus with a moon seed, upon which is a silver that arises as the supreme noble Chenrezik. He is luminously white and radiating out 5 color lights. He is handsome, smiling and gazing with eyes of great compassion. He has 4 arms, the 2 upper hands are joined in prayer gesture, while the 2 lower hands hold a crystal mala and a white lotus. He is adorned in silk and jewels, and wearing a deer skin on his shoulder. His head is adorned with Buddha Amitabha on the crown. He is seated with 2 legs in Dorje Kiltung, and resting his back on a stainless moon. He becomes the essence of the embodiment of all refuges. Jo kenge magen kundong kar zo san ge ke ulai gen tuje chenge dola ze chenre zela chansen Jo kenge mage kondo kar zo san ge ke ulagen tuje chenge dola ze chenre zela chansen Jo kenge mage kondo kar zo san ge ke ulagen Tuje chenge drola ze chenre zela chai lo. O protector, you unstained by any fault, your body is white in color, your head is adorned with a perfect Buddha. You look unto beings with eyes of great compassion. I pay homage to you, Chenrezik. O protector, you unstained by any fault, your body is white in color, your head is adorned with the perfect Buddha. You look unto beings with eyes of great compassion. I pay homage to you, Chenrezik. O protector, you unstained by any fault, your body is white in color, your head is adorned with the perfect Buddha. You look unto beings with eyes of great compassion. I pay homage to you, Chenrezik. Pamba Chenrezik wan dan chojo de zon shomba ye gelwa se chen tam chen lai kunne dang we chan se lo me do do be mar me de shel ze ro la so pa nge juro ye ke tune be Pambe tsoke shesu se tomai mene date bar mege chudan tsaminga Simni nyenmo wangjuru ben dekbai tamje shabaragi nente range janju sim Soso kewo laso be desum gewa chesai be senam lani dayera Simjen namge sambadan loye jedra jeta wara chechon tunmo tek Chenge korlo kordo se korwa jese madon bara nyange med tuje yin dunga jansoro jingwa yi Simjen namla zikso sen dage senam chesa ba tamche jansho jurjur ringboro menton roa yi dembe bendo dan juro chi To the noble Chenrezik and to the 10 directions and 3 times Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I pay homage with utmost respect. Flowers, incense, lamps and perfumes, food, drinks, music and so forth, I offer these in actuality and manifested through my mind. Please accept these assemblies of noble ones. From timeless beginning until now, all the 10 non-virtues and the 5 inexpiable actions, and my mind under the influence of afflictive emotions, I confess all of the negativities that I have committed. On the Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and individual beings and others' virtues that they have accumulated, and will accumulate in the 3 times, and in the merit they have gained, I rejoice. According to the wishes of sentient beings, befitting the various capabilities of their intellect, on the vehicles of the greater, smaller, and common, I request you to turn the wheel of Dharma. Until cyclic existence is completely emptied, do not enter into nirvana, but with great compassion for those drowning in the ocean of suffering, I request you to look upon sentient beings. Whatever virtue I have accumulated, may it become a cause for Buddhahood. Without delaying further for all sentient beings, may I become the glorious one of the Liberator. Sewandem so Lama Chenrezik Sewadem so Idam Chenrezik Sewadem so Parcho Chenrezik Sewadem so Chamgen Chenrezik Sewadem so Jamgen Chenrezik Setuje Zishe Gewai Tuje Chen Tame Korwara Dhamme Chamjurur Chenzeme Dunga Nyongwe Dowala Gembo Kele Charge Mache Sonam Ken Sange Tombar Jingelo. I pray to you, Lama Chenrezik. I pray to you, Idam Chenrezik. I pray to you, Supreme Noble Chenrezik. I pray to you, Lord of Refuge Chenrezik. I pray to you, Lord of Loving Kindness Chenrezik. O victorious, great, compassionate one, hold us with great compassion. Wandering countless lifetimes in endless cyclic existence, sentient beings have experienced unbearable suffering. They have no other refuge beside you, O Protector. Bless them to achieve omniscient Buddhahood. I pray to you, Lama Chenrezik. I pray to you, Idam Chenrezik. I pray to you, Supreme Noble Chenrezik. I pray to you, Lord of Refuge Chenrezik. I pray to you, Lord of Loving Kindness Chenrezik. O victorious, great, compassionate one, hold us with great compassion. Wandering countless lifetimes in endless cyclic existence, sentient beings have experienced unbearable suffering. They have no other refuge beside you, O Protector. Bless them to achieve omniscient Buddhahood. Tomendene lengen sambe tujendan wangi ngewarai kejurute tsadang dungal nyongwe simchen na la cho keke drundo ke warar Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of anger gives birth in the hell realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of heat and cold be born in your presence, Supreme Deity. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Tome dune lenge sarpe tu serne wangi idai nesuke te kondunga nyoe semchen na shing chopota laru ke warasho. Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of greed gives birth in the hungry ghost realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of hunger and thirst be born in the supreme pure realm Potala. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Tome dune lenge sarpe tu te doroi ke jurute lengko dungal nyoe simchen Khenpo keke drundoi ke warsho. Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of ignorance and stupidity gives birth in the animal realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of ignorance and stupidity be born in your presence, O Lord Protector. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Tome dune lenge sampe tu de chawangi mi ye ne suke del pondunga nyoe simchen nine de wa chenge shingdo ke warasho. Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of desire gives birth in the human realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of constant toil and poverty be born in Devach and Puram. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. be tu ta do wa ye lai me ne su ke ta ze dung a nyo we sem chen nam bo ta la ye shin do ke war sho. Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of jealousy gives birth in the demigod realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of fighting and quarreling be born in Patala pure realm. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Tome dune lenge sai pe tu ge wang ge hla ye ne su ge po dong dung a nyo we sem chen nam po ta la ye shin do ke war sho. Through the accumulation of negative karma from beginningless time, the force of pride gives birth in the God realm. May all sentient beings who are experiencing the torment of death and downfall be born in Patala pure realm. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme me Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Dani Kishin Gewai Thamjen Du Chenrezik Meditation Tsumba Ye Madai Shinge Dronam Drolwai Da Suncho Yekdro Chochoro Gembara Sho Pancho Kelai Sewa Da Betu Dagi Duljara Jurbe Drowai Nam Ledre Lulen Gewe Lelai Drove dendo chedan dembarasho. Through all of my lifetimes, may I, with the conduct similar to that of Chenrezik, liberate all beings from the impure realms. May the supreme speech of the 6 syllables spread in the 10 directions. By the power of fervent supplication to you, Supreme Noble One, may all beings who become the individuals to be tamed understand cause and effect and exert in virtue. May they be endowed with the sacred Dharma for benefiting beings. Dendaran zenjin semdain be pambe kulle özerete mada lenan trulshe jan chinne dewa chingish Nanju Kedru Lunga Sem Chenrezik Wang Kusung Tu Nangra Rikdong Ereme Juru. From praying like this one-pointedly, light radiates out from Noble One's body, purifying impure karmic appearance and deluded concepts. The outer world becomes Devach and pure Ram. The body, speech, and mind of beings within that pure Ram become the wisdom body, speech, and mind of Chenrezik. All sight, sound, and awareness become inseparable from emptiness. Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Mani Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Mani Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Mani Padme Remember, needy memory. Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, 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 omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, omani. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Omani beme hore, omani beme hore, omani beme hore. Dajen le nam pamben gun dra yige drube yang dendo yeshe chenpo long. I and others who appear in form is the wisdom body of the Noble One. All reverberations of sounds are the melodies of the 6 syllables. All recollections and thoughts are the vast expanse of the Supreme Primordial Wisdom. Gyewan diye nirdo dai Chenrezik lhundrupcholing drowa chikchan male diye sanlangam parasho. Through this merit may I quickly accomplish the powerful Chenrezik. Without leaving a single sentient being behind, may they be placed into the state of Chenrezik. Den darangom den gimbe senam ke dan dan dalain den toin dro waikun me zan lun den baro wai juro mai tai de wai chen du zun ten ke warasho ke man tai tu san chu ram dren Jumbe cho juro shenden jen barai sho. Through the virtue of performance of the meditation and recitation in this way, may I and all beings who are connected with me, as soon as this impure body is left behind, may we be born miraculously in their Vachen. Having taken the birth there and traversing the 10 bhumis, may our emanations spread in the 10 directions and perform the benefit of others. Now the next part, Chenrezik, page 21. Ma nam kandai nyambe simchen tamche lama sangye rimbo chelai chapsun che wo. Ma nam kandai nyambe simchen tamche sangye chendai genden nam lai chapsun che wo. Ma nam kadai nyambe simchen tamche lama yindam kandre tsolai chapsun che wo. Ma nam kadai nyambe simchen tamche rangsim tongsal chege kulai chapsun che wo. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the Lama, the precious Buddha. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sanghas. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the hosts of Lamas, Siddhams, and Dakinis. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in one's emptiness and luminous mind, Dharma Kaya. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the Lama, the precious Buddha. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sanghas. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in the hosts of Lamas, Siddhams, and Dakinis. All motherly sentient beings equal to space take refuge in one's emptiness and luminous mind, Dharma Kaya. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Page 23. Le dan lomboro ken le junbai ye den dai ne dan jumbo tsewa so semje ye me de we ne nam ke jiden khamso jungwarai majuro jindarai shem tebe se jai ke che lai le sem del jebe Sotro neke dunga jene pai jiten kamso jungwara majuro chindai shinje kanai tsuban darai neke menzam tebe trajepe ninje padan tabe rimsoi ke luchen kunla ne bara majuro Nebe gegre tongtrai ge chundan, loboro yedro sumjai dru chundan, shija zaje nelai sompa ye, luchen kunlai zewara majuruch. Lusem dewai malui trongjenbe, jongshe trombe dunge jenepa. Malu jejen tanto denbai dang tseren me deke denbarasho Lamai kenjo sumge tu jendang kandro chechon sume nutundang Ledre luwai mebe dendoke nguwai melam tatse dro barasho. Back to page 23 in English. A reason from the karma and adventitious conditions, the demonic attack, diseases, and harm from spirits, and so forth. All of the illnesses that discomfort the minds of sentient beings, may they never arise in the realm of these worlds. Like the animals herded by a butcher to the slaughterhouse, in an instant their bodies and minds will be separated. Likewise, however many suffering there might be of illness that take lives away, may they never arise in the realm of this world. Like those who have fallen in the mouth of the Shinje, the Lord of Death, those who are terrified merely by the name of illness, the plagues that torment for a day or constantly, may they never harm any sentient being. May the 80,000 types of harmful spirits, the 360 adventitious negative forces, and the 404 types of diseases not harm any sentient being at all. That which robs of the happiness and comfort of the Vajjian mind, whatever kind of suffering of the imbalances of the four elements, may they be pacified and may beings have luster and power. May they live long, have peace and happiness, and be free from illness. By the great compassion of the three rare precious jewel lamas, by the blessings and power of the Dakinis, Dharmapalas and protectors, and by the power of the truth of the unfailing cause and result, may all measures of dedications and aspirations that are wished here be accomplished. Through this merit may I attain all-knowing omniscience, and may all enemies of defilements be vanquished. May all sentient beings pounded by the turbulent waves of birth, aging, sickness, and death be liberated from the ocean of cyclic existence. Just as the heroic Manjushri realized and Samantha Bhadra too, I will train in their examples and perfectly dedicate all of these virtues. All of the conquerors of the three times, in whichever way they supremely praise dedication, I too will perfectly dedicate all of my roots of virtue for their excellent conduct. May the supreme precious Bodhicitta arise in whom it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but may it prosper more and evermore. Okay, so that's how you practice Chenrezik. Okay. So following Chenrezik, we have some questions and answers. Okay, let's see.
Okay, bye-bye everyone. Have a good question and answers.
Okay. Api sejan me ke chamen. Anadi. Api de. Okay, what questions do we have? Let's see. Okay, how does one conquer emotions of pride, of jealousy? Emotions of pride and of jealousy, I think. How is it possible to silence the world around you through the path of peace within oneself? Okay, that's second question. Now the third question is, Khenpo, I've only been introduced to shamatha meditation. How can I stabilize my practice? Number 4, why is the Vajrayana secret? Does social media get in the way of that? Do you think social media is dividing us as fellow humans in this world? 5, dear Khenpo, please offer a teaching on the life and history of Thangtong Gyalpo as it pertains to the text we have been using every day. Okay, and the next question is, I was wondering if you would be able to speak about if it is possible for us to purify completely physical ailments, illness, or injuries that we may be dealing with through Vajrasattva practice. Okay. How does one conquer emotions of pride and jealousy? Pride is thinking that I know everything. I don't have to rely on others. Then it's arrogance and pride. And I don't know how it is defined in English, but in ngagel is the word in Tibetan. Ngawo nyampe ngagel, it's called I am the one. So that egotistic thought is the pride and arrogance. So of emotions, pride is kind of the sneaky one. It's hard to recognize. It's hard to know that one has pride or one doesn't, we kind of, when anger rises, we can recognize, oh, I'm getting angry. And when we are attached or desire rises, we can think or recognize desire is arising. But in the case of pride, it's hard to recognize that because it is so much clothed in so many different ways. It is so pride is difficult to recognize, but pride is having that I know it all. I think in the newer generation we have a lot of this because we have very strong habit of pride in the newer generation. When you have pride, there's no humility. When you have pride, there is arrogance. When you have pride, you do not see the qualities of others. And then, of course, there is contempt. There is disparagement. So these are how you recognize pride. And when you have pride, like I told you, we do not see any qualities in others. But if we don't have pride, then we can easily learn from others, even if it might be a very small quality in others, then we can appreciate and we can learn from them, like that. How to conquer pride is there's the pride is For example, even when we are practicing Dharma, it's hard to recognize pride, because sometimes our Dharma practice is driven by either jealousy. We hear about somebody practicing like oh, this person has been to this holy place, and then immediately in our mind, then that kind of pride, arrogance, jealousy rises in us. Then, oh, I want to do that too. And then, without rejoicing on what other person did, then we give rise to jealousy like that. And similarly like that, there is arrogance and pride. We practice Dharma, and then we practice Dharma in order to show off, to boast ourselves, to make us make our feelings our some kind of sensual gratification. So that is kind of a reason from pride and arrogance. Certain level of pride is necessary in some kind of practice. For example, if we have very low esteem, if we are constantly trying to put down yourself, that's also not good. You have to actually have very high esteem of yourself when you're practicing Dharma, but not to that extent that you are kind of too how would you say, you're carried away by your pride. And when pride happens, there are especially two things in the practice. We are talking about pride in the context of practice. We're not talking about pride in worldly kind of ways. We are talking in the case of someone who is a practitioner. Then two things are bound to happen. And one is, we think our view, what we know, our view is what we think we know, what we understand, be it wisdom or whatsoever, the view of our practice, or view of our philosophy, or our faith, our belief, or whatever. Then we think, I have it, that's the highest, I have that, and then I don't need to rely on anyone else. Or my teacher is the greatest of all. Other than my teacher, I don't need to regard anyone else as teacher, that kind of thought. Or sometimes the other one happens in in terms of conduct or behavior or discipline. It could be someone who might be practicing some precepts or some observance of some precepts, and then they might think that my discipline is the supreme, or my way of how I practice, my discipline is the greatest, and all others are mistaken. They are flawed, or those kind of things. So these two things are bound to happen in practitioners. So when these happen, then we have affliction. Affliction is what traps us in samsara. So then we think we are practicing Dharma, as I told you, then we forget. We hard to recognize that this is affliction. Then we become very arrogant practitioner. we become very proud. Whatever we do, then there is not much essence or much juice in the practice, but we are just doing it for the sake of show off or those kind of things. So those are not helpful in our practice. So how to get rid of that one is, as Jigme Lingpa mentions in the text, that practitioner has always have to be humble and immediately remember bodhicitta's diligence. Diligence is divided into three kinds. One, diligence is insatiable, like never quenching diligence, like whatever we do, like in our practice or accumulation or bodhicitta, for example, benefiting sentient beings, we should never think that we have done enough. Then rather we should engage in that. The insatiable diligence is, you do and do and do, never become tired, never stop doing it. So that is the antidote toward arrogance or pride. And always remember that, never lose ourselves in that thinking, my practice, my view. Maybe we could be practicing Dzogpa Chenpo, the great perfection, and then we might think my view is the greatest of all and nobody else's view is like that. And then we lose the essence of our practice. Like in the Buddhist teachings, it is mentioned like, even if you hold the highest view, you should never disparage anyone else's teachings. Let it be ordinary teachings, let it be worldly teachings, let it be the teachings of the lesser vehicle, and so forth. You should never disparage. So, guess that's what you need to remember. So, and whatever we do, we should never think we have done enough in terms of practice, in terms of accumulation or whatsoever. That is how we get rid of pride. So jealousy is, the uneasy feeling when you hear about somebody else's achievement, good qualities, their status, their happiness, those kind of things, that uneasy feeling that you have, like, it comes from selfishness. Jealousy is tied to selfishness. Always wanting whatever other person has, then you are, I want to have that one. So it's selfishness. And selfishness is the, selfishness is also tied with lack of loving kindness, and selfishness is also tied with jealousy, because you can't be happy of what you have, and you always want what others have, and you're competing with others, and you can't be happy with what others have, like that. So jealousy is like that. But in Patrul Rinpoche's teaching, it says, it is in Karma Chagme's teaching, he said, when we hear about the goodness that other person has done, then rather than giving rise to envy and jealousy, if we rejoice if we generate joy in others, commitment of goodness or virtue or merit, then we accumulate equal merit to those who have committed that. So, and Patrul Rinpoche and the other one, he says, like, if we just rejoice in what others are doing, then might as well sleep. You don't have to practice. You can just go to sleep, and because you are rejoicing, you are practicing. It's exactly like practicing, because when you're practicing, you're bringing the joy, the enthusiasm. You're constantly like insatiable diligence is what you're bringing. So when you have joy in your heart, what others are doing, rather than think, oh, this person isn't doing right, they should join us in our practice, they should join in our meditation, and so on and so forth. Not thinking like that, rather being joyful, whatever they. And remember, joy is the aspiration. Here, this is the in terms of the four immeasurable, it's the third one. That may all sentient beings have happiness, or may sentient beings never part from happiness that is devoid of suffering. So that is what we need to have. Then every time when you hear about somebody else's happiness, then we think, may this happiness never come to an end. May this happiness always remain unchanging. So such should be your thought. And if you have that, like Patrul Rinpoche says, that you might as well go to sleep. You can sleep. You don't have to practice. So that is how you get rid of jealousy. So pride, always you need to kind of be vigilant and mindful, and bringing the awareness to check, because it's very sneaky. These two, jealousy and pride, are kind of clothed in so many different ways. It's hard to, in different afflictions, that is hard to recognize. So, and then, being humble, it's difficult to talk here in the West. Like when we say being humble, then it's hard to understand. People in the West are, like they always say, oh, I know. You say something, then I know. Like that. So this is a sign of arrogance. Immediately they'll say, I know. Usually you'll say, if somebody says like that, we will say, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I got it, I'll do it. But rather than that, we say, oh, I know. Please do this. Then you say, I know. Like that. That's a sign of arrogance and pride, that you are being hurt inside, and then you always want to rise from that one, and then that's a sign of pride and arrogance. So when you have that, bring yourself down, meaning kind of you need to see that you are being you're flying high with arrogance. Then immediately think, oh, I need to kind of recognize this. And then when you have that humility, then you can learn from everything. That's how we learn. It's because everything, every moment, every instant is the manifestation of teachings, and we will learn from it. And this is just opening the dimension or to the realm of wisdom, and there is no end to the dimension of wisdom. It's vast and profound. It's not like we will be able to understand wisdom through this conceptual mind. Conceptual mind has no power to understand wisdom, because as Shantideva says, wisdom is not the domain of conceptual mind. So when these afflictions are recognized, and then when we bring the antidotes to this, then we learn from everything. Just like when we were saying, just rejoicing, and then it brings happiness to us. So much contentment in just being joyful of others being happy when others have. So much richness comes to our life. So like that's the way to do. Okay, so jealousy, be always joyful. Jealous is when somebody else does better, has better qualities, is in a better state and so forth, then rather than being jealous and trying to compete with them, be just joyful. And then you can think, may the happiness never come to an end, like that. So that's the way. Okay, number 2. How is it possible to silence the world around you through the path of peace within oneself? That's a good question. It is the path of Buddha is like that. Our teacher, Buddha, showed us this. That, liberation, the word liberation, the word freedom, the word liberation, the word freedom is there in that practice. Free from any circumstances, liberated from all conditions. That's so. When your mind is limited, when your mind becomes narrower, yours, because you are dependent on all these circumstances and conditions and so forth. That's why your mind becomes powerless. Your mind becomes dependent. Your mind is totally relied on situations that have to have such conditions in such way and so forth. That is samsaric phenomena. Samsaric sentient beings are totally like that. They are lost. They have no power over their mind. Their mind is completely dependent on situation. For example, a beautiful thing appears in front, and they will completely fall for it. Or something that they dislike arises, immediately they will be irritated, annoyed, angry, like that, whatever is arising, like that. Then, but Buddha is taught that all phenomena is solely dependent on condition. Chenam tamche kenjinte tumbe zella raptu ne, he says. Buddha said that all phenomena are circumstantial. Nothing is real. Nothing, it's all relative. All phenomena are just relative. Nothing is real. And then it actually is solely dependent on your intention, how you intend that very moment, that moment of anger arising, that moment of desire arising, how you intend. If you intend with negative intention, that is going to arise, that situation will arise as negative intention. When negative situation arise, if you generate positive intention, that negative circumstances immediately becomes positive. So it's all relative. Nothing is concrete. So this is what the Buddha taught. So our path is like that. Being Buddhist, we follow Buddha's path, Buddha's words, Buddha's teachings. And this is how we gain freedom and liberation. Otherwise, we are dependent on all the circumstances, conditions, and so forth. Right? There is no liberation. For example, when it's a beautiful day, then we say, it's very beautiful, I like it. And suddenly it's gloomy day, or like how would you say, there's no sun and it's kind of misty and foggy and so forth. Then you say, I don't like the weather and so forth. See, we are solely dependent on situation. It has to be bright, it has to be nice and so forth. Your mind is not independent. Your mind is dependent. So then when you practice more and more, your mind understands this and starts to release all of these unnecessary dependence, unnecessary interdependence. It starts to become independent and happy without any cause and condition. Your mind is always happy, whatever the case, whatever the conditions be. So this is how we as practitioners should learn. So then when we have that, we can contribute to our family, to our friends, our community, our country, to the whole world like that. So Buddha's path is unfailing, so you can think like that to practice. It begins from placing yourself on the right path, the right conduct, the right thought, the right view, right livelihood, and so forth. So the Eightfold Noble Path is what you need to choose. So when you do that, then it doesn't matter, everything is relative. All this chaos, all this turmoil going around, like rather than panicking, just relax. Kind of, how would you say, just rest. And then be in that state of, just be totally independent. It doesn't mean that you have to kind of shun, or you have to ignore the world situation like that. World situation, which we can only, like if we have that kind of concern, we can only engage in the worldly situation with limited skills. But if you have this understanding of Buddha path, or the Buddha's wisdom, then naturally abundant skills will arise. For example, this turmoil that's going on. If you don't understand Buddha's teachings, we always have, I need to cite this one, or these people are not doing right. And you have, your compassion is partial. You're only backing up those who are the victim. And those who are causing the harm to the victim, you don't even consider toward them. Your love and compassion should be unbiased. You love each and everybody. All these acts, all these harm, all these kind of conflicts that are arising are arisen from this mindset that they don't understand love and compassion. You now hearing the Buddha's words, you want to become exactly like them. That's not how you practice. Then when you hear about world situation, immediately sending your love and compassion to all sentient beings. That's the way to do it. You have to have love and compassion for everybody, even those who have the most negative, wicked, like the most, unruly, negative mind. You should have compassion for them. That is how you can remain unstirred by the world situation, and your practice is ever blossoming with this, and nothing can shake you from that. So that's how you should understand Buddha's practice. If you essentialize, if you actualize Buddha's teachings, you'll be able to come up with abundant skills to tackle all this. So then there is no frustrations, there is no depression, there is always love and concern for each and every sentient being. The way you react, the way you like either you're engaging in some social media or you're talking to somebody else and so forth. In the Dzogchen approach, it is called like a matured, like an old man watching children's playing. Like an old person watching children's play. Children build sand castles, they fight, and then they they cry and so forth. Somebody say, I am right, another one says, I'm right, he or she is wrong, I am right, and so forth. But the old person isn't stirred by the activities of these children, and always in that wise state, their compassion. You're not ignoring their situation. So, like that. That's how you need to be and how you need to act. Okay, number 3, Khenpo, I have only been introduced to shamatha meditation. How can I stabilize my practice? Shamatha practice is very, very important. Shamatha is the foundation of all practice. Shamatha is there in each and every tradition. I think shamatha, because it's meditation, shamatha is there in not just in Buddhist tradition, it is in non-Buddhist tradition too. It's just calming your mind and abiding in that state. Calming. Through shamatha, you can bring a lot of common accomplishment, like magical accomplishment, like flying in air, walking through walls, or diving in water, like unhindered, or knowing other person's mind and so on and so forth. These are all achieved through shamatha. So shamatha is good, but you need to have insight, which is called vipassana, Thangtong. Vipassana, it's insight meditation, they say, inside, higher, Thangtong, higher insight, I don't know what the word is. Thangtong is, shamatha is calm abiding, and then you have to stabilize your mind. So your mind that kind of gets distracted and so forth, through shamatha, you can pinpoint or you can kind of place in one point like that and remain in that stillness or in that state like that. That's shamatha, very, very important in meditation. And through that, bliss is generated in your meditation. Bliss can arise. Bliss, like bliss is deva, cell is clarity, and non-thought can arise through calm abiding, which is shamatha. So it's good if you have good shamatha. It's good even when you are practicing Dzogpa Chenpo. Longchenpa mentions that you need to actually complement, or la de is like complement is the word. La depa is you back up, you reinforce through shamatha. Because when you rest in the nature of mind, then you have to understand how to bring shamatha there. But at this point, when you're doing dzogchen, you're not just resting in like suppressing your thought or your emotions and so forth, but you're actually letting what is natural arise and recognizing the true nature of whatever is arising. So therefore, Thangtong, superior insight, is important to understand. So when you calm yourself, when you can rest in one thought or one pointed concentration, that is shamatha. But when thoughts arise, when thoughts occur, then recognizing the emptiness of thought, recognizing the selflessness of the thought, and that is vipassana, understanding the true nature of that. So when you have both of these, Shine Raptu Dembe Thangtong gave it, say, with the vipassana or superior insight endowed with shamatha, calm abiding, then you can bring forth the achievement of the supreme attainment. As I told you, with shamatha you can achieve all the common accomplishment like magic and so on and so forth, but you'll never be able to bring forth Buddhahood or liberation from samsara. Freedom from samsara is only realized or achieved or attained when you realize true nature, which is true understanding, superior insight, or Thangtong. So I don't know who is asking this question, but then maybe the teacher who introduced you to shamatha now needs to initiate you to vipassana, and then go on studying that one and then practicing vipassana together, reinforced with shamatha. How can I stabilize my practice? Yes. So then in vipassana, when you know true nature, then the delineation of meditation and non-meditation vanishes. So in shamatha, only when you place yourself on cushion, or when anger rises, or when desire rises, and then immediately you disintegrate, like anger rising, immediately you completely disassemble into subtle cause and conditions, and where you see that they are completely not there and you rest there. That is shamatha. But then understanding the nature of these subtle cause and condition is understanding vipassana, or knowing vipassana. Then so that's the way how you need to practice. So then every moment, then you recognize true nature, or you have vipassana, superior insight, and you're never wavering from that state. So that is shamatha all the time. So that's how you practice. So yeah, whoever gave you the teachings of shamatha, I think now for you it's time to then practice vipassana. Number 4, why is the Vajrayana secret? Does social media get in the way of that? Do you think social media is dividing us as fellow humans in this world? Vajrayana is in the text it is mentioned Sangha Kenchen Mayin Te Nemin Namla Rabdu Sang is secret tantra is not kept secret because secret tantra has some kind of flaw or mistakes or errors or defects. Secret tantra is concealed as secret because if it lands on improper vessel, it does not benefit. So if it's not the right receptacle or like the right vessel, then secret tantra cannot be taught. So that's the reason secret tantra is kept secret. And secret tantra, it's because it is taught for the highest faculty. Someone, when taught, they can let go of this ordinary mind and understand beyond relative. They can understand, oh, this is absolutely right. I might be holding on to this relative thinking that I am right, they are wrong, and so forth. But absolutely, we need to go beyond this concept of right and wrong and so forth. So such kind of teachings are taught in Tantra. The teachings that transcends right and wrong. Teachings that transcends pure and impure. The teachings that transcends existence and non-existence. The teachings that transcends self and others and so on and so forth. Those are the teachings taught in Secret Tantra. And it's meant for those with someone who can get it the moment it is introduced. So then if someone who doesn't have that capability and someone who doesn't have the inspiration or aspiration to practice that kind of teachings, then they just become jaded. It doesn't work. Then the teaching goes into waste. The example is the snow lion's milk is ambrosia or nectar. In order to contain that milk, you have to have a jewel vessel. Ordinary vessel cannot contain it. Ordinary vessel, as it holds it, it cracks, and then the snow lion's milk is gone into waste. That is the example given of Secret Tantra. Secret Tantra is that essence. If one does not value, if it falls into the wrong receptacle or a wrong vessel, it is contaminated, it is wasted. But if it falls into the jewel vessel, then they can appreciate it, then it is meaningful, like that. So Secret Tantra is like that. So Secret Tantra is kept secret not because of it having flaws and so forth. It is concealed as secret to those who are improper vessels. So then in this social media and so forth, we have all this. Now there is so much of the internet and so forth, we see pictures of deities. In a way, it is good because you're connecting with secret tantra. It is mentioned, if the lineage is pure, if the lineage lama or the practitioner who is practicing has the lineage and has good samaya, has then when that lama, when that practitioner performs chanting or ceremonies and so forth, just hearing the mantra, just seeing the decorations of the settings of the offerings and or the mandalas or the deity pictures or just the offerings that are offered, people who connect through that sight like that, they too plant the seed of liberation. Their samsara now, the end of samsara is in sight. Otherwise, samsara's end is unending. It's like, but through the power of secret tantra, if there is good intention, if there is samaya, if there is lineage and so forth, then it can benefit. If it falls in proper hands, it will benefit. If their intentions are good, whoever sees it, if they see Chenrezik and then somebody feels happy and joyful and so forth, it's good. But then if somebody sees Chenrezik and then says, oh, this is strange, this has 4 hands, 4 arms, strange, like this must be some kind of demon and so that kind of thing, then they have connected with tantra or secret tantra in not in a good way but in a bad way. Both they will be benefited, but because they generate negative thoughts toward this secret tantra, then there are certain like bad karma, certain nepa is like certain kind of bad karma, or it's there. So that's social media is dividing us as fellow humans in this world. Social media is dividing us. It's because the too many information or information that are unfiltered, right or wrong, it's hard. First of all, the discerning awareness of sentient beings are very poor. It's hardly there in sentient beings, let alone discerning awareness. Common sense is so much lacking in today's people. It's hard to know what is right and wrong. You tell them the right thing, they get offended. You tell them the wrong things, and they will follow it. So this is the sign of Kali Yuga. So social media is impacting us all, impacting everybody. Because, if you hear of one negative thing and if you don't know how to deal with it, and that impacts on that person, whoever is reading or taking that into their understanding as negative, like that. So, yes, I don't know about division, but because social media is such a powerful media, and then people with so many different intention, then they use it for so many different purposes, for self-gain or harming others, and so on and so forth, like that. So, but whatever the case be, then our intention, our prayer is to may it connect in all positive ways. Because likewise, however much negativities are spread, we also have a way to send out positive vibes or positive information. So your job is to always create positive links, and so post positive links as much as possible. Try to not use tantra here like Vajrayana and so forth, but just peaceful messages of Buddha, peaceful wisdom. Of course, it's all wisdom, so peaceful messages of Buddha and so forth. So like one drop, it may not penetrate, but next drop again, slowly by slowly. In the story of Asanga, he tried to practice and accomplish Buddha Maitreya. Buddha Maitreya never appeared, so he always was frustrated after so many years, and every time he wanted to leave his retreat cave or retreat hermitage and wanted to go back to the village or to this to the city or like that, then he would see something would remind him that he had to be more diligent. So one of the image that he kind of saw was there was this drip from the rock, and then a rock down there had a hole. So that hole, he understood that it was penetrated by droplet of waters, but repeatedly. One drop did not make much impact, but this drop after drop bored this hole inside this rock. So likewise, you can send messages of love and compassion, post as much as you can in a nice way that people don't get offended, people connect, and then that way then there is no division. Everybody is embraced together as one. So then nobody will say, like from your point of view, then you will say social media is not destructive or not going to divide us. Social media is what is going to bring light and wisdom in each and everybody's life, that eventually we'll all be embraced together in love, joy and harmony and wisdom and so forth, like that. So think positively and then use that way. Okay, Thangtong Gyalpo's life story. Thangtong Gyalpo's life story I'll leave for next class. I will start in series of how he did. Thangtong Gyalpo was, as a young boy, was inclined to great compassion. That he has so much compassion toward beings like bugs and bees and birds, animals, and so on and so forth. So he tried everything to help each and every being. As I told you the story, like this, aspirational prayers, through the power of accumulation of negativities, the force of anger gives rise to hell realm and so forth. This aspiration comes from that particular point when he was sitting by the bank of the sea, wanting to go to land of Oceania. As he looked down into this ocean, I perhaps kind of think that this was the Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean, like that. He was around there. And then he looked down into the water and saw so many beings in there, and then saw the suffering of all these beings, and he made this aspiration that may they all be freed and attain the state of the pure Ram in Potala, like that. So, and he brought his mother into Dharma, he brought his brothers into Dharma, he brought his sisters into Dharma. He had like a very big family. And also they were well off. They were a very rich family. But then he didn't see any essence in this wealth and possession and so forth. So he brought his mother into these teachings. And then his brothers and sisters, his mother eventually passed away, and then he did a 21-day ceremony for his mother. And then he did the cremation of his mother. And then after the cremation, he collected the ashes, the bones of his mother, and then ground into like dust, and then made tsatsas, and then he placed into this purkhang, it's called Tsatsa Purkhang. It's a house like a how do you say, like a like a like a small it's like a building, or no, it's not a big building, it's just like a small like a hall where you place the tsatsas in there. So he placed that one, and he placed his mother's tsatsa in there, and then he made a vast aspiration of his mother, like that. And this was the first of the representation of Buddha's body, speech, and mind that Thangtong Gyalpo did. This was the first one. He didn't have any other projects before that. This was the first time that he started. Then ever since then Thangtong Gyalpo started building temples and bridges and then stupas and so on and so forth, like that. It went on. So this was his first project, I could say that. Like that. So anyway, they're just kind of, and he built iron bridges all over Tibet, Bhutan, and the neighboring areas, all the way to Mount Kailash. So even in Nepal, and like that. So the region, like that. And in order to build iron bridges, that he through his power, that he would just collect metal ores and so forth, iron ores and so forth, and then he would just burn that and then extract metal from there. And also he encouraged all the people to contribute whatever they had, their pots and pans and whatever they had that was broken, that he would put them together in his like foundry, and then he would melt into iron, and he would build chains, iron chains, to build bridges. So in his metal collection, there are a lot of gold, silver, because people just gave whatever they had. Some gave gold, silver, and so on and so forth, like that. He melted everything together and made it into this iron chain. And then when I was a young boy, we used to have ruins, like where Thangtong Gyalpo had built bridges, and when those bridges, I don't know what you call it, on each side of the bank, they have those buildings, they collapsed, and the iron chains kind of just was lying there, and it had been there. Nobody cared to do anything about it like that. It was lying there. But then as it went on, then people started to see the speciality in that iron chain, that however long it stayed out in the rain and so forth, it wouldn't rust. And then they brought this to examine in a lab, and then they saw like this is a very special iron, it's a special metal. So then all of a sudden the Buddhist government started collecting that and then kept in museum. So those are like Thangtong Gyalpo's activities. And of course, Thangtong Gyalpo's activities are like encompassing. So you can read in his biography, it's translated in English. Some portion of it is translated in English. It's called the King of the Empty Plains. King of the Empty Plains. Okay, so the last question is, I was wondering if you would be able to speak about if it's possible for us to purify completely physical ailments, illness, or injuries that we may be dealing with through Vajrasattva practice. Yes. Vajrasattva practice is the practice to purify all negativities. Our condition of this life is the result of all the karma that we had accumulated in many lifetimes. And, particularly as human beings, we have a very, very interesting life. Unlike other beings, human beings are called, in the Tibetan Dharma language, it's called Zamling Leki Sapa. We human beings are very special because we are in a special kind of existence or condition or life condition that we can mature the karma completely in this lifetime. That is the speciality of human condition. Now when we say human condition is, yes, I think it's in generalized, we could say that human condition is that we can completely bring about the end of karma in this life. Other beings cannot do that. For example, tigers and bears and all other animals and those kind of things, how much karma that they negative, like they eat like this whale and so forth, at one gulp, how much insects or fishes or beings are eaten in one life. They have this enormous, they can kill countless beings at one gulp like that. Or like those kind of animals or reptiles that eat insects, they go for the whole ant hill. How many ants are there? And of course, I've also seen that human beings also do like that. One day I went to Koreatown in Los Angeles. And then I looked into one of these packed container of shrimp. It's like tiny shrimp. I think it's brine shrimp or shrimp, like tiny. And this container, as I looked, like tiny shrimps. I don't know what you call, but maybe it's like tiny shrimp. It's my. And then they eat just like snacks, like scoop. And then like in one scoop of a scoop, you might have over 200 or 300 at least of the shrimp. So human beings can also consume or commit such kind of negativities. But human beings' condition is like they can create nuclear weapon that can destroy the whole world in an instant. Other beings don't have that capacity. That's the specialty of, I'm not saying the specialty just you can destroy the whole universe or the whole world. What I'm saying is that kind of potential is there in you. Similarly, like that, human being has the potential to bring about the end of their entire negativities or karma of countless lifetimes in this one lifetime. That is the specialty of human being. Zamling Sapa, Zamlang Leke Sapa it's called. That is the greatness of human being. If you practice, there is no barrier, there is no limit that how far you can go. Milarepa attained Buddhahood within one lifetime, within one body. Similarly, like that, many practitioners attained liberation. They completely purified karma, that they had no more karma that they were responsible or they would ripen anymore. In the case of Nagarjuna, remember great master Nagarjuna, all the karma that he had completely paid off, completely purified, but just one karma that he had cut a caterpillar's head with a kusha grass. And then this prince who came to request for Nagarjuna's head, he willingly offered, says, yes, you can have it, because Nagarjuna was a bodhisattva. The prince came and asked for Nagarjuna's head, and he said, yes, you can take my head. And he took out his sword and then, went through his throat, but it was just like swishing in midair, like that, nothing would happen. Then he asked, why is it happening? He said, because my karma is all paid off. The only karma that I have left is cutting off the head of a caterpillar with a kusha grass. So maybe if you take a kusha grass and then strike on my head, then my head might come off. So then the prince took a kusha grass and then around Nagarjuna's head, and Nagarjuna's head fell off. Then immediately Nagarjuna proclaimed that, yes, I'm now gone to the land of pure realm or the blissful realm, but I will come back. And that is the time when Nagarjuna's teachings on the Madhyamika, the face of a new eon of Nagarjuna's teachings will carry on like that. So like that, there are many other examples like that. If you read the words of my perfect teacher, you will see that on the chapter of cause and effect, you will see a lot of stories of karma like that. One last bit of karma left that they pay off in that life, and then they can liberate. So yes, this whatever kind of sickness and so forth, there is no doubt that you'll overcome it. sickness will transform into opportunity. Sickness will transform into a practice of, Tonglen, we say, taking all the suffering of all sentient beings. And then, taking all the suffering of sentient beings, you suffice all the suffering of sentient beings, that sentient beings will never have to hear about suffering anymore. Such practices are there. So yes, Vajrasattva practice can totally and absolutely purify all ailments. That's without a doubt. Padrimbache and Khenpo Ngakchung mentions in the teachings of the words of my perfect teacher. Both the teachings on Longchen Ningting Ngondro, the commentary on Longchen Ningting Ngondro, and the manual on the commentary or the manual on Longchen Ningting Ngondro are titled Words of My Perfect Teacher. So if you study that, then you'll understand. In there, he mentions that sentient beings are not incapable of attaining liberation. In terms of human beings, you could say, human beings are not incapable of attaining liberation or freedom from samsara, but they don't dare. That's what they say. They say sentient beings don't dare that, because they have no mind set onto this path, completely distracted. So yes, if you have that keenness, your intention, you are going to achieve Buddhahood, let alone this tackling sickness, ailments, and so forth. This is just minor. Sickness is just a condition. You will attain a state that transcends all condition. That is liberation. Through Vajrasattva, through Chenrezik, through Mother Tara, through Guru Rinpoche, through Buddha Shakyamuni, through Medicine Buddha. You choose whichever deity you want. Yeah. They're all wisdom beings, so they won't let you down. Okay, so that's all for tonight. And then everybody stay well, and then keep practicing. And so let us do a dedication for this practice, because whatever merit that we have accumulated through these teachings being heard, teachings being streamed and taught, may all sentient beings attain perfect and complete Buddhahood in general. And then particularly may all this turmoil, all this uneasiness, this fear and terror, and all those who are lonely, who are scared, who are afraid, who are tormented by all those uneasiness, illness, sickness, virus, all these conflicts and so forth, completely be pacified. May their names not even remain in this world. And then may all sentient beings enjoy all abundance of good qualities. May they all engage in the cause for bringing long-lasting happiness. Sonam diye tamje zigbani tobne nepe jannam pamje shingegana che balong trukai sitpe tsole drowa sho jambel power jadar kembana kundu zambo deyan dejinte deda kungi jeso dawlo chen gewa deda tamje raptongo tisum shekpa gewa tamche Owa Gangla Choktu Ngakpade, Dagi Gewe Sawa de Genja, Zampo Cheche Rapto Ngorgi, Janchu, Semcho Rimboche, Make, Panam Kejuchi, Kebanyamba, Mepa. Gongne Gondo Pervarsho, Janchu, Semda Midrashi, Janchu Chalashavata, Sangi Namki, Yongsungshin, Dugelena, Pambarsho. Janchu Semba Namki, Roden, Tula Gondrusho, Gombo in Gangomba, Semjen Namla, Dejusho, Semjen Damchi, Dedan Denjuchi. Ngendro Tamchen Tauto Tombarsho, Janchu, Semba Ganda, Sajupa, Deda, Kungi Melam Drubarsho. Tadiata, Benza Drea, Awa Bodane, so. Ken Lokche, Sum Ring Lokche, Zamning Sum Jabar. Doju Chosum Nawada, Midre de Sum Gele, Show. Okay, Alalaho, everybody. Stay well. Okay. Take care, everybody. Okay, good night. We'll see you soon.